The Cheat Sheet Mark IV Introduction. I'm Roage, and I'm a being that is wearing a flesh suit, just like you. Like most, I saw life as an unfair enigma beyond my capacity to comprehend. My life was a futility of simply hitting my head against a brick wall. I literally thought I was in hell, at the mercy of unconscious demons in a continual state of confusion, hate, misery, disease, and death. I was around 12 years old when I decided the world was a cage filled with illogical animals. It was a miserable time, and all I wanted was out. For some strange reason, I did not think suicide was a solution to my problems, as I had a feeling that I would end up right back in this trap. I still thought there might be a being that men called God. So I asked in complete hopelessness and despair for the keys out of hell, and I would do anything to get out. It took 30 years for it to come to pass. It took all I had to figure it out. And the funny thing was that it was so easy that it was there all the time, right in front of me. The reason it took so long is that I did not have the perceptual capacity or the cognitive ability to accept or understand it. Even more funny is during that 30 years, I was being taught lessons that would expand my perception, provide the cognitive ability, and all that while I concluded that I was just a loser, plagued with bad luck, and simply damned. When I started out, I was given the proper tools for the task. To an extreme, I was narcissistic, unsympathetic, malicious, amoral, dishonest, intelligent, curious, detail-oriented, observant, systematic, and skeptical. I had no respect for authority, and thankfully, I had a healthy sense of humor. And boy, did I ever need that. Basically, I was a sociopath. After an intense education in science, and later religion, and some philosophy, I concluded that if these institutions knew the way out, then they were either not telling or confused. Either way, I would not be where I was if it actually worked. I held everything that I was told as either a deliberate lie or suspect. I concluded that I would only believe what I could demonstrate and prove to myself. Initially, I knew little, and it showed. I did not fit in, and I had no patience for people. To me, they were objects, simply subjects of my experimentation. I rejected standard model cosmology and saw huge fudge factors in physics as a product of intellectual laziness. I rejected my own base assumptions. I did, however, see irony and coincidence as instructive and something to observe closely. Every time I hit a barrier, I started over, accepting only what made sense and was demonstrated directly to me. It took a while. I became alienated from my friends, family, and society. Slowly, I put together a framework that I tested over and over in my life experience. Most thought I was nuts. I was nuts, that is, until 4:44 a.m., July 4, 2006. An event occurred that resulted from a 7-year study of the law. Not what lawyers practice, but natural law. Natural law has a real potency, like fire burns and things fall down when dropped. To me, procedural law was gibberish. I rejected the theory of legal positivism as something only idiots would buy into. With that event, I experienced for the first time no worry, no fear, and had peace, love, and most importantly, clarity. I discovered after learning the natural law that the universe is a friendly place. I gained a new ability that allowed me to perceive things in a new way that did not require my 5 senses. I learned to perceive nature has an intelligence and timing. Nature is that which all powers manifest in the universe, and it is vital to know how it works, or one cannot know why things occur. This ignorance of natural law is the reason we often attribute events in our life to happenstance, luck, probability, and chaos. When one studies the natural law to the extent that I have, then it was automatic that I would encounter the source of the boundaries and architecture that I experienced in this thing that I called my life. So profound was this event that it changed me forever and made me free and happy. More importantly, I found my connection to nature, what I was, and more importantly, my purpose. It required a search, not outside but inside. How could I become happy if I didn't accept the truth that I was not happy? It was when I stopped deluding myself. I was so excited I began telling people about how I got to this point. If they thought I was nuts before, they were sure now. I could not simply tell people. It took years of study to find out why. The journey itself revealed much about how I was and why it took me so long to get to this point. I began documenting what was required. I wrote articles, stories, and parables. It seemed that no matter how persuasive or logical, I noticed that if one was not ready, then they had no chance of getting it. I identified that it was fear that kept people from listening and making sense of what I said. I put up a website and a forum and began coaching people that were in the proper state of readiness. I studied what worked and what did not. The reason you are here right now is that you have taken the first crucial step. You have decided that you are not happy and your life is not what you want, and simply ask why. The answer will require you to listen with a completely open mind and trust yourself at a level you have not done before. What you will hear may seem stupid, crazy, and wrong. We avoid this because we are afraid that we, or often others, will think we are insane. The joke is that the inability to accept what is about to be presented will prevent you from remedying your insanity. Before one can ever hope to become sane or unconfused, you need to first suspect you are confused or insane. Until you have the courage to do that, then you will close yourself off to the cure. If you feel lost, confused, or nuts, then you are right where you need to be. The truly insane deny it and have deluded themselves into thinking they are not insane. This is the fourth iteration of the cheat sheet. It has been developed over 6 years, incorporating observations over a lifetime and revisions to make it useful to you. It has been described as the fast way to enlightenment. It is not that it is difficult. The primary problem is that it is easy. But we need much context in order to go through with it. Think of it like jumping off a cliff. All that is required is simply to relax and fall forward. But managing the fear is the hurdle. It will require you to put aside what you think you know about life and to truly have an open mind. Those who have truly tried and used this methodology have been completely changed. They cannot describe the difference, but they do not want to go back to the way they were. Here are some words to really ponder before you begin, so be honest with yourself and take some time. Are you happy? Would you rather be right than happy? If you could have it changed for you, would you? What if it's not a matter of your logic being wrong, but rather your conclusions are based on not being able to completely observe what has happened to you in your life? Life does not contain a lesson. Life is the lesson. Even if you don't believe it, just pretend to look at your life as an interactive lesson used to bring you to this point in time, right now. Soon, you will find yourself not pretending. A new symbol. I will speak on to indicate the circle with the vertical slash shown above when reading, just to make it easier. On is the set theory representation of empty set or null set and is sometimes represented using empty curly braces. In the set of complete human thought and language, there does not exist a singular term to properly represent the non-entity that is naturally supreme and in authority in the universe and outside the universe. The symbol on is not an image of this non-entity. This symbol is a placeholder for that which has no placeholder. The symbol describes all that the non-entity is not. Specific terms tend to create an automatic block to understanding for many people. People often become lost in an argument over religion or semantics. This is one reason for employing a negative symbol. In addition, it is a fact that on is largely misunderstood and ignorantly blamed for a host of human suffering, frustration, and depravity. It is required as you are living, and you require something to grasp onto. Nothing is elusive. It could also be looked at as a black hole. On is the truth you seek. A little on process for truth/on seekers. My best advice is to relax. You are already in the process. Actually, you always have been in the process. This is probably the first thing you might want to look at as the immediate life lesson. It is only a feeling that there are others that know something you don't. You know all of this already. It is just not needed to be in your conscious awareness until now. It will require a nuanced approach for you to allow yourself to see on. It does not help trying to seek or look for on. On is there already. One cannot see what cannot be seen. I will try a different approach, and perhaps you can see what I'm driving at. I am pointing to the moon, so don't be distracted by the finger. It's like having a word at the tip of your tongue. The harder you try to remember, the more you clog your process, and the more it eludes you. Then, when you're relaxed at 3 a.m., it comes to you automatically. This is because the memory server backlog has been allowed to clear. Because these things talked about here are so nuanced, you cannot go at them directly. The reason is ego. I'll go into this later. Ego is moving the blind in the same place your eyes look. That's its function. On will come on its own. I know it will. Otherwise, you would not be here right now. What works is this. Trust that you're getting, right now, what you need the most. We already know what you want. The problem is ego does too, and it creates suffering by holding what you want back. That which you want the most is held away, and that which makes you uncomfortable is visited on you. The emotional energy or concentration you apply creates an imbalance, and the reaction is always in opposition. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This is true in emotion also. All emotion is ego. Yes, even feeling love. Pay attention to what you experience and take it serious. Nothing is unimportant. On cuts you some slack starting out and does not teach two things at one time. Even now my lessons are complex, but they are one at a time. Yes, I'm in the process too, and I do this eternally, just like you. What you are experiencing right now is the lesson. Accept that what you are now experiencing is necessary to the lesson. The truth only applies to you and only right now. Get comfortable with the fact that truth is non-transferable. What is truth now can change in the next moment. Accept what you are shown and be intuitively honest.